Shadow King, how El Chapo outsmarted the world. Again and again, in the world of organized crime, few names command fear and awe like Joaquín El Chapo Guzmán. He wasn't merely a drug trafficker, he was an escape artist, a master manipulator, and a man who ran an empire even from behind bars. Through a mix of money, power, and psychological warfare, El Chapo redefined what it means to be untouchable. This is the gripping, mind-bending tale of how one man escaped justice multiple times, leaving entire governments humiliated. His story is a chilling reminder of how influence, wealth, and ruthlessness can bend even the most rigid systems. His name struck fear into governments, police, and rival gangs across borders, spanning an empire fueled by narcotics, terror, and myth. 1. Welcome to Hell. Puente Grande. Mexico's Puente Grande wasn't your average prison. It was a fortress, heavily guarded with 2 guards per inmate, fortified walls, watchtowers, and military-grade infrastructure. Reserved for the most dangerous criminals, including cartel leaders, this prison was designed to be escape-proof. Yet it became the luxurious holding cell for El Chapo, the most dangerous drug lord in Mexican history. Despite the security, the corruption inside allowed El Chapo to establish complete control. It was a place meant to break men. Instead, it bowed to him. El Chapo manipulated the system so well that his time in Puente Grande resembled a stay in a lavish resort, not a prison cell. 2. Luxury behind bars. While others languished in concrete cells, El Chapo thrived. Thanks to millions in bribes, he enjoyed fine food, women, alcohol, and unmonitored communication. He had cell phones, visited freely by his wives and mistresses, and even continued to run his cartel. Facilitating this decadence was Damaso Lopez, a deputy prison chief who became El Chapo's most trusted insider. He didn't just live comfortably, he lived as a king in a place meant to crush spirits. His cell was more like a penthouse than a prison room. With luxury as his leverage, he pulled strings, forged alliances, and stayed untouchable even behind walls. 3. A tunnel empire begins. Even from prison, El Chapo expanded his empire by revolutionizing drug smuggling. He and his engineers built sophisticated underground tunnels with ventilation and lighting systems, making traditional routes obsolete. Smuggling drugs into the U.S. became seamless and enormously profitable, raking in over $20 million monthly. El Chapo wasn't just surviving prison, he was winning. His tunnels became architectural marvels, defying border security and traditional law enforcement efforts. He turned the earth beneath our feet into his personal highway. The tunnels symbolized more than smuggling, they were symbols of defiance against borders and sovereign states. 4. Escape plan. Number 1. Laundry Day. When Mexico proposed extradition laws, El Chapo sensed danger. In January 2001, he executed a flawless escape. With Damaso reducing guards and laundry worker Chito hiding him in a cart, El Chapo rolled out of the prison unnoticed. One nervous moment occurred when the cart rolled backward, but Chito saved the plan just in time. El Chapo exited through the gates in a car driven by a bribed guard, vanishing into freedom. The boldness and simplicity of the escape shocked the entire world. It became a case study for criminal genius and left authorities scrambling for answers. 5. 14 years of ghost. For 14 years, El Chapo was a myth. He commanded billions, ran armies, and turned border towns into battlegrounds. His network of safe houses, loyalists, and secrecy kept him hidden. The government couldn't touch him, and his power kept growing. He became more than a fugitive. He became a legend. His empire grew exponentially as he expanded his grip on the drug trade across North America. Every city feared his name, and no one dared cross him. For nearly a decade and a half, he lived untouchable, laughing at law enforcement from his mountain hideouts. 6. They cracked his code. In 2014, authorities flipped his Colombian tech assistant, gaining access to El Chapo's encrypted communications. They traced him to a fortress-like house in Sinaloa. Special forces stormed the building only to find an empty house. El Chapo had vanished again, through a tunnel beneath a bathtub, equipped with hydraulic lifts and a secret switch behind a mirror. The tunnel's design was so advanced, it stunned even seasoned investigators. This was no ordinary escape route, it was a masterclass in engineering. His ingenuity outpaced their tactics, and once again, he melted into the shadows. 7. A city trap. El Chapo made a rare mistake. He hid in a hotel in Mazatlan, assuming no one would suspect him in a tourist city. But 5 days later, authorities found him alone and unprotected. He was captured without a single gunshot. It was one of the rare times El Chapo looked genuinely defeated. His overconfidence had finally betrayed him. In the heart of a bustling city, he learned that even ghosts leave footprints. The arrest proved that cracks had formed in his once impervious shield of invisibility. 8. Altiplano, the impossible prison. Altiplano was a military-grade maximum security prison. With anti-aircraft weapons, netted walls, and unbribable guards, it was supposedly inescapable. Even mobile phones didn't work there. Yet El Chapo wasn't intimidated. With help from his wife and trusted allies, he began plotting again. His fear of U.S. extradition drove him to act fast. Despite 24-hour surveillance, GPS tracking, and daily routines, he saw possibilities where others saw dead ends. To him, Altiplano was just another puzzle. Even the most guarded facility in Mexico was no match for his unmatched ambition and strategic cunning. 9. GPS watch. The challenge was identifying the exact spot of the blind spot in his cell, the shower corner. The solution? Smuggle a GPS tracker disguised as a watch. His wife delivered it flawlessly. Now his engineers knew precisely where to tunnel, even from over a kilometer away. The plan was in motion. The precision this watch offered would prove vital. A single meter off target and the entire operation could collapse. Timing and detail meant everything. The Great Escape, July 2015. The tunnel was an engineering marvel, 10 meters deep with lights, ventilation, and even a motorcycle on rails. On July 11, 2015, El Chapo watched a comedy show to mask the noise. Then he walked to the shower, disappeared through the hole, and was gone. 40 minutes later, guards realized he had escaped again. The operation was so smooth, so silent, it seemed like fiction, but it was all real and executed with surgical precision. 11. Chase and capture. Number 3, El Chapo hid in a fortified mountain mansion, but couldn't resist moving around. Authorities tracked his voice to a house in Los Mochis. In January 2016, forces stormed it. A bloody shootout followed, but El Chapo slipped away through yet another tunnel. Eventually, he was caught by honest officers at a checkpoint. His ego needed visibility, and that became his downfall. Every movement exposed him a little more, and this time luck ran thin. 12. Highway to hell. El Chapo tried bribing the officers. They refused. Moments later, cars approached. El Chapo smirked. His men were coming, but they weren't. It was the army. Surrounded and out of options, El Chapo was captured for the third time. This time, he was going nowhere. The betrayal of expectations broke him. What was once certainty had become a mirage, vanishing before his eyes. The game had changed. 13. Final move. Extradition. Mexico had reached its limit. El Chapo had embarrassed the nation too many times. In January 2017, guards stormed his cell without warning, tied him up, and flew him to New York. El Chapo was stunned. When he landed, he asked, "Where am I?" The agent replied, "Welcome to New York." That moment marked the end of his reign. He would now face a justice system immune to his influence. For once, the walls would hold. 14. The end of the road. In 2019, El Chapo was sentenced to life plus 30 years in ADX Florence, the most secure prison in America. No tunnels, no visitors, no escape. He spends 23 hours a day in isolation. The man who once ruled the drug world now paces a cell, far from power, money, or hope. His silence is deafening. The world he created now spins without him, and his legend becomes a warning, not a blueprint. Chapo's story is one of power, genius, and obsession. He wasn't just a criminal, he was an architect of shadows. But even the greatest illusions eventually fade. This time, El Chapo is gone for good. Or is he? Thanks for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe for more true crime stories that defy belief.